Hello and welcome back to a Clear and Obvious podcast. As always, I'm your host Archie Corbett and I'm joined by the wonderful Sam Cole. Sam, how are you today, my friend?
I'm good, thank you, Archie. And I got some good sleep last night after that very exciting England game. Yeah, helped me get sleep. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Lovely little 0-0 draw last night. One shot on target. It's just what you want, you know. Nations League going well. Very exciting front three that didn't get into the game. But we're not here to rant about England. We'll do that another time, as we've sort of alluded to throughout the podcast. Probably when a major tournament comes up and we get dumped out of the group. But what we're here to do today is we're going to be doing a Premier League prediction / preview. We've gone straight basically from a Premier League review to a Premier League preview, just because there's been like a 1 month gap because of COVID. What we're going to do is we're going to go from 20th to 1st. We're just going to talk about the teams at the same time, talk about where we've got them and why. Let's crack straight on because we've got a lot of teams to get through, a lot of players to talk about, managers, a lot of teams to slate, a lot of teams to praise. So let's just get straight into it. At 20th, Sab, I've got Fulham. Let's go with them first. Where have you got your beloved Fulham?
I've got them 19th, so not rock bottom, but still relegated.
A bit more promising. Yeah, obviously you want to talk about them a bit, so go ahead, mate, because I've got them bottom, but I want to see why you think you're going to not stay up, but not be bottom.
Yeah, well, I think we won't come bottom because of one man, Alexander Mitrovic. I mean, he's just amazing. He's an incredible striker. I think him, he will definitely help us. I think Lamina in midfield will. I think he's a good signing. Because last season one of our big issues was transitioning from defence to attack. It was so slow. Lamina definitely has the ability to bring the ball from defence into attack it with his brilliant dribbling. On the whole, I'm not really happy with Fulham. So we're gonna go into the first game of the season against Arsenal with Tim Ream at centre back. And Tim Ream is probably about, let's say, bottom half of the Championship level. He's not even top half. So the fact that he's starting against Arsenal is a bit of a disgrace. We need to get business done before we're relegated already. We probably will get relegated. We've wasted money on Cavallero, Knockaert and Decordova-Reid, who are all Championship mid-table. 30 million on them. What a waste of money. Robinson, that's decent, left back, good competition. Aina and Tete both go for the right back role. I think will be good depth when they sign. When the pod comes out, they'll probably be signed. Areola in goal is a bit of a weird one because I have faith in Rodak. So Areola, sign it. You not heard that, Archie? We're signing a World Cup winner in goal. Yeah,
Has that happened?
Pretty much, yeah.
I did not know you'd sign Alphonse Areola, that one.
Yeah, the guys on loan with Real Madrid.
For Real Madrid. Oh, right. Oh, okay. For Real Madrid and PSG, yeah?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, right. He's
won
going
the World
Fulham.
Cup as well.
Yeah, won the World Cup. Yeah, he's going to Fulham. Right. Okay, I missed that completely.
Yeah, so that's why we're not coming last. But yeah, I'm not happy necessarily with some of the stuff we've done in the window, and our squad is all right. I think Anguissa could have a good year. He's a very good player that I think needs game time. Mitro will keep us from coming last, and which will get relegated. But we'll have fun.
Yeah, just to touch on sort of what you said there. I'm not sure. Maybe if you had a manager that's been experienced in keeping teams up in the Premier League and made a bit more shrewd signings, i.e. not throwing away 30 million on the players that you've discussed there, you might be all right in terms of staying up. But it's almost getting a bit of deja vu in terms of coming up. I mean, obviously, you've not spent the similar amount of money that you did last time. You're doing it a little bit differently. But I still think you're going to go down. So, yeah, I've got Fulham 20th. You've got them 19th. Let's move on to Aston Villa because I've got them in 19th. Where have you got Villa?
I'll Villa in 18th.
So both of us have got Villa going down. They've just signed Ollie Watkins. Now the podcast has come out. And he'll be, I think he'll be a good sign. I mean, as you say, he's not played a minute of Premier League action in his life, and they're signing for about 30 million. So it's a risk, a fairly substantial risk. But they needed a striker, let's be real. They needed one through the window. They tried to get Wilson. He went to Newcastle. They tried to get Fraser on the wing. He also went to Newcastle. So, they stayed up last season thanks to one man, Jack Grealish. He kept him in the league. But I just don't think he's going to be able to do the same this year. I'm not convinced by Dean Smith in the slightest. I reckon if they stick with him throughout the whole season, they're buried. But if they sack him maybe just before January, might have a window to do something. Whoever comes in there might be okay. At the back, they're terrible. Tyrone Mings, as we've discussed many times on this podcast, is very substandard. And I just don't see Villa surviving. They're a big club, don't get me wrong, but they're a club that are up and down fairly regularly. And I think they'll be going back down to the Championship this year in 19th. What do you got, Sam?
Yeah, I'm in 18th, as I said. I think the transfer business they've done is all right. Matty Cash, he'll be decent at right back. He'll give them a lot going forward. Still not perfect at the back, but I think he'll work on that and get better at that. Ollie Watkins for 33 million is interesting. 33 million for a player who hasn't played a bit of Premier League football will always be a risk, don't get me wrong. I think he'll score goals and he'll be better than Wesley and Sabata, who would quite weird signings, to be honest. But I don't necessarily think he'll warrant the 33 million price tag. But yeah, their squad hasn't necessarily changed much from last year. We'll have to see other transfers they do. Grealish staying is huge. He definitely gives them an opportunity to stay up. And I genuinely think that Villa could be widely relegated or they'll be mid-table. There's just it's so hard to predict Villa this season because you don't know what's going to do. Because like a lot of their players from last season, like Trezeguet, El Ghazi, Louise, Nakamba, if they step up this season, they could be a completely different side. But yeah, the reason I got them going down is just, as you said, Dean Smith. He's not a Premier League manager. He's all right, Championship manager. Well done in getting them up. And to be fair, tactically did really well to keep them in the league last season. I think he deserves credit for that, but I don't think he'll repeat it this season and Villa will go down.
Yeah, as you say, completely right on they could, if those players step up, if Matty Cash comes in and instantly is brilliant as well, they could be top half, in that sort of mid-table area. But I just don't think. I think it's a weird mesh of players that I don't think is going to work for a second season. Let's move on to this might be one of the most polarising ones. Let's move on to West Ham because I've got them in 18th. I've got the Hammers going down. Sam, just quickly, where have you got West Ham in the league?
I've got West Ham 13th. I have got them, quite a bit higher, and I'll explain why. I think they'll improve on last year. I think when Moyes came in, especially after the break we had, they were playing so much better. They were more of a team than a group of individuals. They've got immense quality in that team. That is a fact. They've got Yarmolenko is decent. They've got whatever his name is on the left wing, Anderson, on the left wing, who is brilliant. Haller is an awesome striker. Soucek's great. Rice is great. We don't talk about their defence. But going forward, they have a lot of quality. The problem comes definitely whether he can replicate the unity that he had towards the end of the season again. They still have a lot of individuals, and I don't know. It's quite hard to judge with West Ham, as you can see, because we've got two different predictions. But I think they do need new quality, new signings at centre back because Balbuena, Ogbonna, Diop are very poor, and Ogbonna's probably the best, and he's injury prone and old. Dean Gardner, why do you sell him? You're so done, West Ham. And but yeah, I think Moyes has the ability to get the best out of this team.
So why I think West Ham are going to go down? It's two names really, Gold and Sullivan. Right. I don't think they will stick with Moyes this season. I think Moyes is gone, even if they do okay and they're looking sort of lower mid-table. They've got ambitions way beyond their station. And even still, as you touched on it there, selling Dean Garner might be the worst piece of business in Premier League recent memory because they signed to a 6-year deal, right? The price tags that they've given Declan Rice, the price tag they've given Declan Rice is 80 million. The price tag they've given Issa Diop is disgustingly 70 million. So they're overpricing young talent, right? Yeah, overpricing young talent. But they sell Grady Dean Garner to a direct potential relegation rival for £18 million. 18! I mean, okay, Sure, that's one signing, so that doesn't dictate everything. But the issue lies defensively, as you've touched on there. There are three centre-halves. Diop, if he finds four, might be okay, but Ogbon is ancient, and Balbuena is not very good either. Rice and Souček can fill in there, but you need them in midfield. Their full-backs, as much as you'll protest that Ryan Fredericks is decent, are poor.
Yes.
On the wing, Bowen's good. Yarmolenko's good. Right wing, they're okay. Left wing, Felipe Anderson, I don't think he's going to find any form, and I reckon he'll be gone in January. Up top, if Haller doesn't turn up again, they're still going to be relying on Antonio because they've got no one past that. And don't get me wrong, Antonio can be relied upon for a stretch in a season, but for a whole season to keep a team up, I don't see it happening. Lanzini's finished. Pablo Fornals might come back Pablo Fornals at the end of the season was probably West Ham's best player going forward, bar Antonio, because he actually had a decent run of form. Despite coming in and not being brilliant, he came in and did okay. But I just don't think it's going to gel. I think it's going to be a similar situation to Villa, where all these new signings they made last summer aren't going to gel again this season. They're going to give up on Moyes, and they're going to bring in someone that's not going to see them through. They're going to get relegated, and that club it's in dire straits. I can genuinely see them going down. Let's move on. Let's move on to West Brom. I've got them in 17th, and I've got staying up by the skin of their teeth. I reckon it'll be a Grady Diangana goal on the last day that relegates West Ham and keeps West Brom up. That's my prediction. But where have you got West Brom?
I've got West Brom in last. I think they'll finish bottom. I think don't get me wrong. I rate Bilic. I think their signings have been good. Like some of them have been good. I think Pereira on a permanent is brilliant. He'll be this season's Buendia. Diangana, brilliant signing. He would start for West Ham. Don't know why they sold him. He's a West Ham dumb, as we just said. He brings a lot of quality out wide. Button in as a backup keeper from Brighton is very inspiring. And Robinson adds a bit of depth in forward positions, though I don't really rate him that highly. But yeah, under Slaven Bilic, they'll have a well-structured team. They'll have a clear philosophy and style of play. It's just I don't think they have enough quality in their team. I think it's in forward positions they do, but defensively, bar Ajayi, I don't really think they've got much.
Hegazi?
I think he's championship level. I'm not a Hegazi fan personally. Gibbs has passed it. I don't know. I look at the West Brom team. I don't know. I can't picture them in staying up with this team. Don't get me wrong. They could potentially stay up because they do have a team which could show like a lot of steel, a lot of grit, and could maybe towards the end of the season stay out. But they need to improve defensively, in my opinion, and I think they've got a championship level team.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And quality of their squad alone, they're probably going down. But as you say that, I'm trusting in Slaven Bilic. He's a very underrated manager, and I think he can keep this team up. Say if West Ham had Slaven Bilic, they're staying up. I think it does. I think it depends massively on the manager that you've got, and I think Bilic can keep them up. You touched on it there. Their squad, it's fairly substandard, but they've got some decent quality going forward. As you say, Pereira, they've still got Grzycki, haven't they?
Yeah.
He might be able to make the step up. I guess we'll see. Going forwards, they might be okay. But as you say, there'll be structures, and that's what Slaven Bilic will bring. They've got Livermore in midfield. I can see them staying up just because, he's got an England cap. Let's not. I
just made it Nugent, mate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. He's going to Northampton, so he's got to be amazing. I can see West Brom staying up just because they'll be organised. And they do this all the time. They come up, and they struggle to stay up in their first season when they go down the season after that. They're the ultimate yo-yo club. And I think they'll do the same this season, so I can see them staying up just ahead of West Ham. Let's move on to who I've got in 16th is Crystal Palace. Where have you got Palace?
I've got them in 17th. So similar positions.
Yeah, I struggle with Palace. I do, because I just don't think they've strengthened enough. They've bought in Eze, who might make the step up. But let's say, for instance, Eze doesn't make the step up, and they're still relying on Zaha and Jordan Ayew. And there's no guarantee over those two even carry, because they are having such hot and cold seasons. Zaha a couple of seasons ago was brilliant. This season, atrocious. Jordan Ayew was okay season before. This season, he was very good for them. So say if both of those players don't step up for them going forwards, they're finished. But I think they'll be okay.
Andros Townsend, mate, he'll step up.
Andros Townsend's keeping them in the league, yeah. I don't know. I think Hodgson will keep them up, but I don't think it'll be very convincing at all. I reckon he could be sacked this season, if I'm honest. And yeah, I don't see them making a push towards mid-table at all. I think they've digressed massively. And yeah, I've got them in 16th. What about you?
Yeah, I got them in 17th, as I said. I think their transfers have been decent so far, to be honest. I think Eze will. I think he'll excel in the Premier League. I genuinely do. He had so much quality in the forward areas that it was definitely needed. Some energy, a spark. Him and Zaha on either wings could be like Source FC. But I think Ferguson coming in at right back. It's decent. They probably needed a right back, and he had a bit of quality coming in from West Brom. Zaha has to improve. He has to improve on last season. Otherwise, they'll be in trouble. They lack a natural goal scorer, as you said. It's like this season it'll be him, this season it'll be him. But I've seen that Batshuayi is very close to joining on loan, so that could be that problem fixed. But I genuinely think Palace needs to trust in Roy Hodgson. He'll keep the team in the league. That's the ambition that the board are showing. That's pretty much what the board wants them to do. So Palace fans, don't get on the back of Roy Hodgson. He's doing what he's been told to do. Get on the back of your owner who's not backing him. Yeah.
No, I think they'll just steer clear because they should have enough quality. I hope Eze steps up as well because he's a very exciting player. And I hope him and Zaha make an incredible combination and they come mid-table and prove us wrong because I don't mind Palace. You know, they're all right. They're quite a nice club. But let's move on from the niceties of Crystal Palace. Let's move on to who I've got in 15th. I've got Leeds United in 15th because they're such a tricky team. Predict. Quickly, who have you got Leeds? Where have you got Leeds? Sorry.
I've got them in 14th, a bit higher.
Yeah, so we both got them in similar positions. Why have you put them in 14th? Go ahead and give me a reason.
I think Bielsa's incredible. I properly rate Marcelo Bielsa. He has just inspired so many great managers, and I just think he's just such a. Admittedly, people don't give him the credit he deserves. He hasn't won necessarily the trophies, but I think he is amazing, and he's a god in Leeds. Let's be honest, Leeds fans do see him as a god. It's crazy, but transfer business wise, Rodrigo is a huge step up on Bamford. Admittedly, doesn't always get the goals, but his play off the ball is very impressive. I think he'll be decent and quite creative, getting 7 assists last season. That's pretty decent. Robin Koch from Freiburg, properly rated. I think he's a great addition in the defence. They've brought back Misliner, who was their keeper for this when Casilla was banned and became number 1. He's young, but if he could take the number 1 spot this season, and then Helder Costa on a permanent and Jack Harrison on loan. So they've brought back a lot of the squad from last season, which I think could help them. They've got more transfers on the way, which is mental, with Garvidal, an 18-year-old centre-back set to join, and Draxler reportedly in talks, which is mental. But yeah, I think they'll stay up. I think they've got enough of last season's squad and adding a lot of quality in the signings. And I think Bielsa will just inspire them into staying up in 14th. The only potential thing people are asking, are they doing a Fulham? They're not. They'll stay up 14th.
Yeah, I've got Leeds in 15th. They'll stay up comfortably, I think. But I don't think they'll kick on like, for instance, when Wolves came up and they were instantly brilliant when they came up. I say they're in a similar boat. Just they've both got quality managers. They've both spent fairly heavily. One's backed by a super agent, but that doesn't really matter. No biggie. No, I reckon Leeds will stay up and they'll comfortably stay up and they'll look like a team that can kick on. But as you say, Marcelo Bielsa will be the man to keep them up. As you say, he's inspired so many managers like Anthony Hudson. And if you haven't listened to that Anthony Hudson interview yet, then go and listen to it. It'll be in the top right-hand corner now. So go listen to it because he talks about his influence. And yeah, he's brilliant. But he'll keep them up. As you say, the signings have made him brilliant. It'll be interesting to see how Rodrigo does when he comes into the Premier League, because he is sort of that creative striker rather than a typical goal scorer. So I do have slight doubts over where the majority of the goals are going to come, because it's not coming from Patrick Bamford. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It made some very shrewd signings. They've kept their squad together, and that's what they are. They're a squad that works very well under a manager who's got a very clear system. And yeah, Leeds United 15th. They might be being a bit harsh. They might get above the likes of Newcastle, Sheffield United, but I can see them in 15th. Let's move on to the aforementioned Newcastle, because I've got them in 14th. Where have you got the tune?
I've got them in 16th.
Okay, fair enough. I've got them in 14th, and I reckon they're obviously limited because Mike Ashley's in charge, but they've made a couple of okay signings. I like Fraser coming in, I like Wilson coming in for like a 20 million pretty much bundle deal. They've got them in for. I quite like that. Wilson has had seasons where he's been amazing, and last season where he was atrocious. But if he can find that form that he had at Bournemouth a couple of seasons ago, then they've got a goal scorer there, and that's what they were lacking. But Joe Linton can also come back and be that goal scorer, so I think they're definitely hedging their bets with those two. Fraser and Maximan on either wing is going to be gorgeous to watch. I like Fraser a lot. I don't like him as a person a lot because what he did with Bournemouth was a bit questionable. But I think if he can come in, find some form that he had at Bournemouth, then I think he'll be pretty good. Sam Maximan will just be amazing. Steve Bruce will keep them up fairly comfortably, I think. And yeah, I like their chance of staying up, and I like the chance of potentially kicking on. Of course, they can only kick on so far because Mike Ashley's there. But yeah. Newcastle United, I've got them in 14th. Where have you got them?
Yeah, I've got them 16th, as I said. And I think this season will bring a relegation battle, and I think it'll be Bruce's last. I think their signings-wise, Wilson, he will probably bring goals if he doesn't rupture his ACL. Fraser's decent on the wing, but I think he has a slight attitude problem, as you said. With Bournemouth, what he did, not very good. That was just not happy with that. But yeah, Jamal Lewis is I actually proper rate that. I think that's a good capture from Norwich. And Jeff Hendrick is just messy. I mean, he is phenomenal. I mean, he will bring so much into that midfield. He's an okay depth player. But yeah, they are. I don't know. It's. Maximin, I reckon have a great season. The problem is him, Almiron, Joelinton, all the Italian players from last season. They need to up their goals and assists. Their goal contributions were way too low, and they relied too much on their centre backs getting goals. And talking about the centre backs, I'm still not fully convinced with them defensively. I think Lascelles is decent. Shaw is basically a centre mid who's not who plays in defence. I'm not a fan of him defensively. Fernandez, I'm not convinced defensively. So I think they need to improve at centre back. And I'm not sure. I think Newcastle will struggle this season. I think it'll be Bruce's last, but yeah, I think they'll stay up 16th.
Yeah, well, there's rumours of them bringing in Rob Holding, so if they bring him in, then they're coming top half easy. But let's move on to the team that I've got in 13th. I've got Sheffield United coming in 13th. A bit of a dip from last year. Where have you got Sheffield United?
Oh, Sheffield United in 15th.
So again, similar positions we're finding here. I'll just quickly make my piece for Sheffield United. They came up, had an unbelievable season. And I think with that unbelievable season, they've built the groundwork for being a staple Premier League side. Like when Bournemouth came up, of course, Sheffield United are a bigger club than Bournemouth. But when they came up, they had that first season where they were very good and they stayed in the league and no one expected them to. And I think it's going to be similar to Sheffield United. And I think they're going to have a stint here where they're going to be in the Premier League for a few years to come. As we said before on the podcast, their squad as a whole is championship quality, but they work well. And it works for them. And they've just brought in Oliver Burke, which is a bit of a strange one because he's not really done well anywhere. But it will be interesting to see if he fits into their team at all. But I don't think they're going to have the same season they did last time because I don't think the shock factor of how they play will be there. But I still think it will grind out results and they will get a safe mid-table spot. And yeah, Wilder will just be still praised like a god there. So yeah, I like Sheffield United a lot, and I want them to do well. So 13th is where I'm putting them.
Yeah, I've got Sheffield United 15th. Admittedly, as you said, last season was incredible. I don't think they'll repeat that. I think last season is as good as it will get for Sheffield United, at least for a while anyway. Transfer business wise, they've brought in just lots of young English signings. Yeah, they've brought in Lowenbogle from Derby, Ramsdale from Bournemouth, Burt from West Brom, and Ampadu on loan from Chelsea. I actually properly rate. Wild has team set up well, but I think with these new young signings, implementing them into the team, they'll need to be patient with them, and that might cost them a few results here and there. And I think they'll still be solid. I don't think they'll be, despite being 15th, I don't think they'll be in trouble necessarily going down. But because they just have the fight and the unity in the squad to just stay out of it, even if they do get into a relegation battle. I don't see them hitting the heights of last season, and I think they'll finish 15th.
Yeah, no, they're both sort of fairly reasonable places, I think, to expect where Sheffield United will come. We could be completely wrong and they could get relegated, but that's the risk. But I don't think they're too organised for that. Let's move on to Brighton and Hove Albion, because I've got them in 12th, and I believe, Sam, have you also got them in 12th?
Yeah, I have also got them in 12th.
Well, I think they're going to come 12th. And Brighton fans, you're in for a treat because Potterball is in full swing, right? I'm going to be really positive about them because I love Brighton. Ben White coming back, Lallana coming in. They've made some very shrewd deals. Veltman at centre half, he's a very decent signing. He was very decent at Ajax when De Ligt left. He filled that void. I mean, obviously not to the level of De Ligt did, but he filled that void fairly well. And I think he'll do well. The signings they've brought in have been brilliant. And yeah, I think Potter's got them playing very good football. And every season they seem to be predicted to be relegated by about half of the media. They're all just Brighton are going down because they're a small club. But I don't think they will. I think they'll be playing very good football under a very underrated manager with a very decent squad. And a couple of the young players like Alzate will kick on. And Ben White will just be unbelievable. Yeah, I really like them. Brighton 12th, up the Albion.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I've also got Brighton 12th, as I said. I think last season was a brilliant platform to build on. Just keep them in the league, playing a new type of football. I like the signing so far. Lallana adds some experience. Apparently, at Liverpool, he was amazing in the changing room. So I think he'll bring that to the squad as well as brilliant quality in the field, of course. Veltman, as you said, I don't think he'll start for Brighton. But I think what a player to have as a backup player. They're just such a great squad. They've got lots of young talent, as you said. White, Alzate, Lamptey, and Connolly, I reckon, all have fantastic seasons this season. They also have one of the best. Sorry, my sister's dancing outside the window. They also have one of the best defences in the league, I actually think. I think Webster, Dunk, and White after this season could all get an England squad, which is quite mental. But yeah, slight concerns, they lack a bit of depth up front. They have Morpie, Connolly, and then nothing after that, which is quite worrying if they're going to play two up top. But yeah, lots of positives for Brighton. I think they'll come 12th.
Yeah, as you say, their centre-half depth, it's disgusting. It makes me physically ill to look at that as a team that struggled defensively last season. But, they'll be brilliant. And I'm changing my rhetoric on Brighton this year because I've always liked Brighton. I didn't like them last year because they absolutely bullied Arsenal. But I'm back to liking Brighton again. Yeah, up the Seagulls, lads. You're brilliant. 12th Brighton, that's where I've got them and where you've got them as well. Let's move on to the team that I've got in 11th. I've got Southampton. Where are you putting Southampton?
I've got Southampton in 10th.
Interesting. Why have you got them sneaking into that top half?
Yeah, I just think Ralph Hasenhüttl is just such a good coach. I genuinely think he's one of the best coaches in Europe. I think he is just a brilliant coach. What he did following the 9-0 loss to Leicester was amazing. After that, after he completely changed his team, And I think he'll go with that team throughout this season. I think he'll play the 4-4-2. Sally Zhu, one of their signings from Real Valladolid. Not much really known about him, but apparently he's very good defensively and good on the ball, which I think is definitely what Southampton need. They definitely need a good defender because they were struggling with Bednaret, Vestergaard and Stevens. None of them were convincing. Walker-Peters on a permanent is positive. I rate him quite highly. I expect him to have a good year. So they've brought in players to really fix their defensive problems. I think they could do with another centre-back, but it's definitely better. I also see the two of the players that some people say flopped last season, Gineppo and Adams. I think they'll be much improved this season. I think Adams showed a lot towards the end of the season, showing that he could be a good signing. I think this will be the season he'll show it. They're lacking a bit of depth at centre mid at the moment, with only James Ward-Prowse and Romeu, the only two. They have two first team centre mids, so they need to definitely strengthen there. But other than that, yeah, I'm all for Southampton under Hassan Hutel. I'm a huge fan. I'm loving them. They only come 10th.
Yeah, filling the void left by Højbjerg is going to be a bit tricky for them. As you say, only two recognised central midfielders in the squad, really, their first team quality. So that's going to be a bit of an issue, but one of them is James Ward-Prowse, and he runs everywhere, every game, all the time, so he could probably do a job or two people, so he'll be all right. If Ings is firing again, then they're definitely going to be challenging for that top half. Because, as you say, Hassan was a brilliant manager when he's not losing 9-0 to Leicester, so that helps. He'll always have that on his resume, so he's just got to suck it up, really. But yeah, no, I think they'll be improved in terms of their overall play. I like Hassan Hutel a lot. So Southampton in 11th, squeezing into that top half potentially, but I've just got them missing out on the team that I've got in 10th, who are Burnley. Where have you put Burnley?
Yeah, I've got Burnley in 11th, so very similar.
Yeah, so they're pretty interchangeable, those two. Burnley, I mean, they play completely different styles, which is brilliant. Sean Dyche, he'll set up his two banks of four, and they'll do very well again, I think, and they'll sneak into the top half. They'll cause the big teams problems once again. If Chris Wood can carry on firing at the rate he is, which I hope he can because he's my fantasy team, but if he can keep firing at the rate that he is, they'll definitely get out top half. 14 league goals last season, I think it was. Had a brilliant season. And yeah, if they can kick on, obviously Tarkowski's unbelievable. Me's brilliant as well. If they can keep on, and Nick Pope as well, that's going to be a big variable on how they do. But yeah, overall, Dwight McNeil's also one of their better players going forward. So if he can kick on, he'll be great. He's also underrated, quite underrated defensively. I quite like him almost like a wing back role. But yeah, overall, Burnley 10th. Sean Dyche has got them playing disgustingly horrible to look at football, but it works. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I got Burnley just a place below that. Transfer business-wise, they've done a huge amount, and they've brought in some real quality. And Will Norris as a third keeper from Wolves, I think he's top class. I think he's going to really challenge for that number one spot. I think Nick Pope has got to watch out. He is in trouble with Will Norris coming in. Yeah, they haven't done anything else in the window because it's Burnley. They just play with the same team every year. There isn't really much to say about them. They'll just do what they do every year. Brilliant defensive unit, really well-structured side under Dyche. Worrying that Tarkowski is been linked away quite a bit, but I think they'll keep him. And yeah, there's not really much you can say about them other than they'll be mid-table. They're very solid and they play horrible football.
Well, they've also, I don't know where he was last, but I think he was last at Burnley. They've lost Aaron Lennon to Turkey.
Yeah,
bit of a weird one.
Devastating blow, and Jeff Hendrick to Newcastle. It'll be a big loss.
I don't see them recovering from losing two major players. But yeah, no.
And Joe Hart, of course.
And Joe Hart, of course. He's gone to. He's taken a step down in his career, hasn't he? But yeah, let's move on to the team that I've got in 9th. Which is probably a bit of a shock. And Wolves fans might not like me for this, but I've said it. Yeah, Wolves. I've got them in 9th. Where have you got the old Wolverhampton Wanderers?
I've got them in 8th.
Okay, so similar positions again. I was worried. I won't lie about Wolves. I was very worried. I was very concerned by what they didn't really do. They had a very thin squad. And their season went on for so long last year, but somehow that's got to affect them going into this year, just because the lack of gap between the two seasons. Bringing in Fabio Silva for the price that they have is a risk. Don't get me wrong, but I like it as a risk. I mean, if you're Portuguese and you're good, if you score one goal in the Portuguese league, Wolves are already looking at you. And he's very highly rated young attacker, and I like him coming in. I won't lie, I haven't seen a lot of him, but he'll show some promise, I'm sure. But overall, Wolves' squad is enough to certainly keep them in the top half. But I think this season they're going to fade away from challenging for Europe, just because of the demanding nature of last season. And there's going to be some hangover into this year. Losing Doherty's big, and they aren't hopefully bringing in Maitland-Niles now, so that position is going to be a bit of an area of concern for them. But overall, do they have the squad? They might bring in Tellers, but overall, do they have the squad depth to just gloss over that? He's only one of the best fullbacks in Europe. Do they have the squad depth to see them into Europe again? Or not again, but in those positions again? I don't think they do. I think they'll fade away a little bit. I love Espirito Santo, but overall, I've got them in 9th. Might be a bit harsh, but yeah, 9th position for Wolves. What have you got?
Yeah, I've got them in 8th. I love that. Yeah, Wolves. Yeah, they might be in messy, but yeah, the real no. But I've got them in 8th. Transfer business wise, Fabio Silva. I love it. I just love it so much. It's brilliant. They've spent 35 million on someone dubbed the next Ronaldo. Nothing will go wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If he plays as well as he does in my Football Manager save,
It's literally
he'll be one of the best players in the Premier League.
Football Manager legend. Yeah, he's won about 5 Ballon d'Ors by 2025. Wolves fans, don't worry.
Unbelievable player, but no. That would be meant. I don't even know if he'll play. I'm so confused about just everything about that transfer. I think Marcel is quite an underrated signing. I think he was an underrated part of the Lyon Champions League run. I think he actually played very well in that, and was a big part of it. Then, of course, Tellez being linked, which would be quite a good signing. Not bad.
Just all right for me. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Vinagre still is just a bit. It's just that level above. But that will bring good depth if they bring in Tellez.
Exactly.
But no, Nuno's a great coach, and he's got Wolves playing well. There could be a hangover. I don't think it'll be that big though, as they won't have European football this season. There are a few questions over Jimenez's future, which is slightly worrying, but it's right because they've got the next Ronaldo. And I hope Daniel Podence, I really like him, and he didn't really get much of a chance this season. So he's a player I think you should watch out for, and I really hope he has a good season.
Yeah. Well, the £90 million price tag on Jimenez should deter most teams from going from being 29. But yeah, no, they'll get top half easy, and they could challenge for Europe. I just think there's so many teams that could potentially challenge for those European spots. I think they'll be the one that fades away this year. And they deserve it for that away kit. It's disgusting. Anyway, let's move on to Tottenham, because I've got them in 8th. So, just quickly, where have you got Spurs?
I've got Tottenham in 5th.
5th, right? Okay, let me write my piece. You're gonna hate me, right, Spurs fans? Obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, and obviously there's some bias coming into this. But you're just not very good. Right, I think you're gonna. No. All jokes aside, you're gonna focus on cup competitions this year, and you might fade away in the league, but there's a chance you'll win the Carabao Cup. So it's a trade-off, realistically. You will. You'll focus on the cups, and my feeling is your depth up front still hasn't been addressed. Mourinho will win you a trophy at some point if you stick with him, but it will probably be the Carabao Cup, as I've touched on there. You'll get through the Europa League qualifiers, might get quite far on that, but I think the season's going to be quite draining on Spurs this year. Bringing in Doherty is actually a decent signing, considering Levy's the most tight owner going. So bringing in an actual footballer to play for Tottenham is quite interesting, because they don't normally bring in many transfers. And when they do, they bring in a record transfer and they just try and ship them off the season later. But no, realistically, I think they will drop off this year because they will just go for the cup competition. So good news, you're winning a cup. Bad news, it's probably the Carabao Cup and you're going to be out of Europe. So around European spots in the league. So Spurs in 8th. Why have you got them in 5th, Sam? Because I'm quite intrigued by that.
I like this Tottenham side. I'm not gonna lie to you. I rate it. I've been watching the All or Nothing, and I I genuinely no. That's not what.
Oh, no.
That's what no, but look at their signings. They're just very Jose signings. They're players with winning mentality and just a grit about them, without them going to set the world alight. Matt Doherty, as you said, is good at right back. Bear in mind that they're trying to sell Aurier and Walker Peters has gone. Bear in mind, so they very much needed a right back. So he's a good player to bring in. Højbjerg is a good holding midfielder. Again, very solid. I like him a lot. Joe Hart is, he's got a long neck. And then, but yeah.
Can we not on the long neck slander, all right? Let's just not, okay?
It's fine. I have no neck, so
It's
we
complete
kind of balance
opposite.
each other out. It's just two contrasts. But no, I think Spurs will do all right this season. I think they will definitely go for the cup competitions, but I don't think the Mourinho is one to focus on just one. I think he will go for all of them because it's Mourinho and he's such a born winner. It'll be interesting to see if they need to buy a centre-back, but if they don't, I think Dyer will get more minutes to centre-back this season, which will be interesting. If Ndombele is given the chance midfield, I genuinely think he could be dynamite. I think he could be amazing. And Lo Celso as well in that midfield excites me, and their front three. They've got a lot of things about them that I really like. But yeah, they have a slight concern about the defence. We'll have to see how that goes. But I think Spurs will do all right, and I got them fifth.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the team that I've got in seventh, which is Everton. They've been making some pretty interesting deals lately. What do you make of Everton? Where have you got them?
I've got them in seventh.
Oh, so say no. Yep, same as me. Yeah, in seventh. So I was trying to work out counting, basic arithmetic. I've got Everton in seventh, and I think this will be the year that they finally start to challenge for Europa League spots. We've been talking about it for ages. Oh, they've bought in so and so, so they're going to be challenging for Europe, and they never do. But this will be the year that Everton start to challenge for Europe. They've changed their whole midfield, and it's kind of mental. They've brought in Alan, Doucouré, and James Rodriguez. All three of them are unbelievably good, right? James and Alan particularly. I mean, why are they playing for Everton? Well, it's obvious because they've got Carlo Ancelotti. But if James Rodriguez comes in playing for Everton and shows any glimpse of brilliant form, then Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are going to be feasting for days because they are going to be set. Alan coming into brilliant holding midfielder. Doucouré is a good box-to-box midfielder, so I like the balance of their midfield. You don't like Doucouré, I can tell. But defensively, they've still got Michael Keane, so it's a problem. But really, it's a real. They've got issues at the back. Pickford, if he can't find any form, but so that will still be their downfall. But I think that they will kick on this year because they've bought into brilliant players. Ancelotti is just an unbelievable manager. It's so surreal to see all of the James Rodriguez and Alan and Ancelotti at Everton. It's just bizarre, and I think with that combination, you can't come in the bottom half. You can't. It's not allowed. I don't think you should. But yeah, Everton is seventh. They'll kick on this year, hopefully, and if they don't, they're just a club that's destined to be losing.
Yeah, Everton is one of those teams. Your predictions, where it's like, it's very similar to if you're predicting the Championship with Stoke. Every year you're putting them up high, and they always just disappoint you. It just happens every year. No, as you said, their signings are mental. James Rodriguez, phenomenal player, and on his day is one of the best players in the world. I'm not even going to filter it. He is just incredible. It's unfair. How was he signed for Everton? This is mental. Alan is so good as well. He's good in defence midfield. Doucouré is overrated, and he's better at in an attack midfield role rather than box to box, in my opinion. But he's still all right. I wouldn't start him, but I think he's all right. I'd prefer Bamin. He needs to be given a chance. Or Andre Gomez over him, to be quite honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
But their attacking options as well, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Moise Kean, who can hopefully kick on this year, are brilliant. They've got good forward players. I'm excited to see John Joe Kenny this season. I think he's one to look out for after such a good year. He was one of the few positives of a very poor Schalke season last season. They need to bring in a centre-back. Mina, Keane and Holgate, none of them are brilliant. I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen Tamori is potentially joining on loan. I think that'll be a good deal. But yeah, they need to bring quality at centre back. But if they do, flipping it, they're going to be good.
Well, I'm just trying to work it out, right? And I'm just sort of working out what team Everton will play. And obviously, they've still got Sigurdsson, who's like their record signing, but he's not very good.
Yeah,
Who are they going to play out wide? They play Bernard out wide.
They'll play Richarlison and hopefully Walcott. Honestly, Walcott.
I'm just sat there thinking they've got brilliant central midfielders, but I'm just trying to work out their wingers. Fair enough, yeah. Everton's squad is actually...
They'll play Richarlison and Bernard out wide with Calvert-Lewin up front.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, no, they'll be brilliant. And so, assuming they can sort of a defensive problem, I think Mina is probably the best of those three. He's actually pretty decent. But yeah, if they can bring like a Tamori with him, that'll counteract the fact that Mina can't really pass the ball 5 yards because Tamori's quite a good ball playing centre back. But yeah, let's move on from Everton. Very positive season in store for them if we're right. Which probably not. Let's be real, and let's just be clear. We're getting into territory now where a lot of very popular teams around the world, and you're not going to like us because one of those teams is not going to be challenging, right? So let's just stop thinking we've got an agenda against teams because we don't. We like each team equally, other than Spurs. No, we don't. Let's move on to Leicester, who I have got in 6th. Where have you got Leicester City and why?
I've got them in 9th. And I think that will be mid-table, just in the top half. Last season, despite their fall-off, which can be attributed to many things like injuries and just the break just kind of ruined them. But yeah, under Brendan Rodgers, they were brilliant last season. 5th is a brilliant achievement for them. This season, having the addition of the Europa League, I think it could hurt them. We saw last season how a lot of fixtures in a few days hurt them quite big time with a lot of injuries. So yeah, I think they could be that could hold them back. Timothy Castagna from Atalanta, I think it's a good signing. I think he'll play at the right back role, and James Justin will move to left back, and I think that's decent. Harvey Barnes, I think, will kick on this year. I really, not that he didn't kick on last year, but I think he's a really good player, one for the future. But yeah, I think the Europa League will ruin them, and I have a slight concern that I think that last season was Vardy's last as a top player. I'm not sure how long he can maintain it. I'm not sure how much longer he can keep buying those Red Bulls every game. But yeah, I think Vardy will still be good, but I don't think he'll challenge him for top scorer. So it'll be interesting to see if they do as well.
Yeah, there is, as you say, a lot of variables that could go wrong for Leicester. There's a lot of concerns over the squad depth, over whether Vardy can actually carry on being as good as he is at his age. But I think they will. I think this will be probably their last season where they probably challenge for European spots, which is why I've got them in 6th. I think they won't be up in sort of the 3rd, 4th they were all season last time. So I think there will be a noticeable drop-off, but not one that drops them off to only just getting in the top half, for instance. So I think they will end up finishing 6th. I think Vardy will still have a brilliant season, but this might be his last brilliant season. As you say, Harvey Barnes, he had a semi-breakthrough season last year, but I think this will really be the season where he establishes himself as a very good winger. But yeah, overall, Sigurdsson's still very good in defence. I've got question marks over Johnny Evans now, just going into next year. Yeah, Schmeichel's still brilliant in goal. As you say, the addition of Castagna can play on both sides, so when Pereira does eventually come back, he will fill in at left back. Yeah, like that addition a lot. Very good going forwards as well. So certainly one to look out for. Rodgers will get into playing some good football. I think they'll finish 6th. Let's move on to Arsenal. I've got them in 5th, and I'm an Arsenal fan. Sam, where have you got them?
I've got them in 3rd.
Right. Okay. Let's have a frank discussion here, because I think we will improve, and I don't think anyone can really doubt that unless they're really anti-Arteta, anti anything good. Because Aubameyang's going to sign his contract, hopefully, soon, please. That's pretty much a given that he will. We've brought back Tobias on loan. We've addressed the centre-back problem, it seems. Obviously, they're not Premier League proven, which is the issue with the Gabriel bringing him in and Saliba having his first season full. But I think we just miss out on Champions League, but we will look a lot more positive this season. And I will be happy with 5th, if I'm honest. Arteta's first full season as a manager, and I think we'll be all right. Sam, why do you think we're going to be 3rd?
I'm just going to really, really hype your team up here.
Please do. I love it. I'm all here for it.
I think don't get me wrong. I don't think you'll challenge for a title, but I think you'll be comfortably in the Champions League. I'm a big fan of your transfer business. I'm not going to lie. I think Gabriel looks like he's going to show up that defence. Saliba's pretty much a new signing. Who'll partner him in a 2, and if it's a 3, David Luiz will come in to be the middle. Who is actually all right in a 3 at the back. But yeah, I'm putting so much hope in Gabriel and Saliba. It's actually unbelievable. But yeah, I think Willian is a great signing. I think he'll get good minutes, and people slating that signing. Admittedly, his wage is quite high, but I think he's a good sign. Tobias returning as well is a great move. I don't know. I look at their team and there's so much about it I like. I think Aubameyang staying is like massive. I think Pepe will live up to expectations. Lacazette's going to bang in loads of goals if he stays, because I've seen he's been linked away. But if he stays, he'll bang in loads of goals. Arteta hasn't spent much time at the club, but the time he has spent, he's convinced me already he's going to be great. Admittedly, there's a worry over the centre-backs because they've never played in England before, whether they'll gel, but they are, and they're going to come 3rd.
Mate, honestly, I with my rose-tinted glasses, I'm all with you. With my rose-tinted glasses, we're challenging with Liverpool and City for the title, right? Because we've beaten Liverpool twice. We've beaten City. We've beaten Chelsea. You know, but no, we're not. We're not going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that consistently over a season. I think we'll come 5th, but I love your optimism. I really, really hope we come 3rd. I just don't think we will. But you're on a roll with some hot takes, Sam. So let's move on to the team. Can't believe I'm saying this. Let's move on to the team I've got in 4th, Manchester United. But before we have a go at me, United fans, Samuel Cole, where have you got Manchester United coming?
I've got United 6th.
Did you say it louder for the people that couldn't hear?
Yeah, I've got United 6th. No, I'll explain why. I think this will be the last season of the incredible Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tenure where they've won a lot of trophies. I think signing-wise, Van der Beek looks like a good signing. I don't think he's going to start. You can't play Pogba at CDM. You have to play Pogba next to Fernandes with the CDM, and Van der Beek is not going to play CDM. So while I think it's a good signing, I don't really see where he's going to fit in starting-wise, because I think Pogba and Fernandes are better. They haven't signed anyone else. I think the opportunity to sign Sancho is gone, personally. I think that is... Yeah, I think that's done, so which I'm very happy about. And they're not even looking to... But I haven't seen them linked with any defensive players. And I think... Don't get me wrong. I've got it written here. Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, Fernandes, Pogba. Their front 5... They're brilliant. They're amazing, right? Then you look behind that, right? Matic was decent. He's probably past his best. And last season might have been his last season of real class. Left back is Shaw, who is good, great, I'd say, if they can keep him fit. That's a big if.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, funny. Lindelof is probably their best centre-back, but has moments where he can do stupid things. Maguire is mid-table at best and a huge waste of money for 85 million. Unbelievable waste of money for 85 million. Did he improve that side? Yes. But someone they bought for 20 million could have flipping shored up that defence or made him a bit better. Aaron Wan-Bissaka looks good, but he's not the finished article. And De Gea should be sold, and they should put Henderson as number 1. So going forward, they're great. I just have so many question marks over the defensive side of their team. And don't get me wrong, a lot of United fans think I have an agenda. I don't have an agenda against your team. I genuinely want you to do well. I genuinely want you to do well. But I don't think they can do well under Solskjaer, who I don't rate at all.
I don't know, mate. I feel it's a bit of an agenda there. No, I don't think so. I'm still, as you say, as you touched on there, I'm still not convinced by Solskjaer long term. But I think this season we'll get in Champions League. And I think their squad's too good, to be honest. Going forwards, as you say, with bringing in Donny van der Beek in midfield, as you say, they don't have any defensive midfielders there. They're going to have to start Fred. It's going to be probably Fernandes and Pogba. So Bake's probably going to be going off. Van der Beek's probably going to be coming off the bench. If they start all three, they're going to get overrun in midfield literally every game, and they will probably come even worse than sixth. But yeah, as you said, the front three's brilliant. Assuming Greenwood's not getting any more girls around during the middle of COVID. And yeah, defensively, as you say, is their main problem. Lindelof is their best centre half. Maguire, I think you're unfair with him a little bit. I think he has games where he is of that standard. Not 80 million, don't get me wrong, but he's of a starting caliber Man United centre half. He has games where he does do that, but he does have moments where he just loses concentration. And go on.
Andre or Shavin had games where he was one of the best games in the world for Arsenal. It doesn't mean that he wasn't a brilliant player.
Yeah, okay, a completely different scenario, but sure. I'm not saying he doesn't have the wildly different levels of form. He doesn't have games where he's literally the worst player on the pitch. He makes mistakes in games, but it's individual errors that bring him down. As a whole, he's him and Lindelof at the centre half. They do bring question marks over them, but on their day they're decent. It's just how many times can they be on their day? Wan-Bissaka, as you touched on, yeah, him and Shaw as fullback options are decent, and they will start De Gea at the start, but he'll make about 8 mistakes in his first 2 games, and they'll replace him with Henderson hopefully. But I've got United coming fourth because they do have too much quality going forwards, and I think they'll get to a point where they're just outscoring teams. So yeah, that's all we've got to say on United. So put your hate down below. Anyway, let's go to Chelsea, who I've got in third. Where have you got Chelsea? Obviously, you haven't got them in third.
I got them in fourth.
That's a fair assessment of things. Can I just sort of go through their signings? Because if they don't come top 3, Lampard's getting sacked. So he needs to be. Look at the team that they've got. The pressure that is now have to be put on Frank Lampard. They've signed some of Europe's best players. They've signed Havertz, who is arguably top 2 playmakers in Europe, right? He's unbelievable. His playmaking abilities are off the charts. They've brought him in. They've brought Werner in. So they've addressed their issues up top, even if there weren't any with Tammy Abraham, who actually had a decent goal scoring record. They've brought in Ziyech, who could be a bit hit or miss, but creatively, he's amazing. And they've brought in Thiago Silva, who I like for probably a season for leadership. And they're bringing in a keeper. They're bringing in Mendy from Rennes. Romano's literally just tweeted it, saying it's happening. Personal talks are going on. So they're bringing in a keeper, and if he can address, and they've brought in Chilwell as well. They're just throwing money at players. Everyone's like, oh, it's the pull of Frank Lampard. Pipe down. They're paying Ben Chilwell 190 grand a week. 190 grand a week for an average left back. But yeah, they will come third because these players, they've got to gel at some point in the season. It might not be initially, but it will come to fruition. And they've just got too much quality. The argument can be made over they're not really Premier League proven, but it's like, I do get this feeling with people that are fans solely of the Premier League that we think we're completely superior. It's like, oh, we're not Premier League proven, so they can't be that good. Well, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a point in terms of will they adjust to a league, but when the players are that quality, you've got to admit that they will have some sort of impact. But yeah, that's sort of my all over the place Chelsea rant. They'll come third just because they've got so much quality in their team. Pulisic will be amazing. Their midfield 3 will be interesting to see. I think they'll go Kante, Kovacic, Havertz. That will be what I'd go with. Mount can sneak in, but probably not regularly. He's good, Mount. I think he gets a bit of unfair hate, but he also gets a bit of unfair praise. So he's just sort of in between, really. But yeah, Chelsea third. If they come below third, it's Chelsea, so they'll probably sack Lampard, even though he's their all-time goal scorer.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think they'll sack Lampard if they don't get top 4. It's similar. I think if they get 4th, I think they'll keep him. But yeah, the signings are interesting. someone needs to tell Chelsea this isn't career mode, right? This isn't FIFA, lads. This is unfair, right? You can't buy two of Germany's best players that they've had for a while, probably that they've produced for a while. You can't just sign two of them in the same window. That's unfair, right? But yeah, they are amazing. That's so annoying. Thiago Silva will add brilliant experience to centre back and will probably organise that defence. Ziyech, as you said, a brilliant creator. Chilwell is better than Alonso. I think he'll develop and he'll be all right. And they have more signings to come as well. As you said, Mendy coming in goal. And they're still trying to sign Declan Rice, even though West Ham are like 80 million. If they buy Declan Rice for 80 million, I'll probably cry. But yeah, I genuinely think it'll be. The two things are. I'm not sure how long the squad will take to gel, and like how well these new signings will play together with each other. Because I think he's good there, but I think he's better in a two. Werner. I think he's better in a two up front instead of a one. And I'm not convinced by Lampard. He's like. I think there's two. Yeah, it's him and Solskjaer are two managers I'm not fully convinced by. It might prove me wrong, but I don't think what he did at Derby was a huge achievement. I don't think what he did at Chelsea was a huge achievement either. But yeah, Chelsea fourth. Yeah, it's not career mode, lads.
Well, the thing is, though, like we say about all these signings, but their net spend isn't massive because of Hazard and Morata. Were both sold for disgustingly high amounts. So their net spend isn't a lot. It's just because they had a transfer window off. They're just shoving them all in this window. So yeah, they're gonna be the most interesting team to watch this season, hands down. Right, let's just get to the top two. Let's get through this. Liverpool second. Let's just go through because we've both got Liverpool in second and Manchester City in third, right? No, sorry, in first. Apologies. Yeah, no one's coming top this year, lads.
Arsenal winning the league. Arsenal winning the league.
Yeah, Liverpool second, Man City first. I think City will win the league. I think they've kind of addressed defensively. If they bring in Koulibaly, they're winning the league. I don't think it's doubtable. But there's 75 million for a guy that's approaching his 30, so it would be a bit of a risk. But it's Man City, so it won't change anything. They've bought in Ake. I like the signing of Ake. Whether him solely can win them, can sort of have a defensive problems remains to be seen. But they will be looking to at least challenge Liverpool this year, and I reckon Liverpool might drop off a little bit this year. Just because when you find sometimes when teams have won the league and we make zero additions after that, they do sometimes fall off. And if they bring in Thiago, then that's a complete game changer. But it's looking like if he's going to go to Barcelona. So it all, for me, depends on what happens between now and October the 6th. Current squads, I've still got City pipping them. But if they bring in Koulibaly, then they'll win the league by a decent margin. What have you got to say on the title race this year?
So yeah, I agree with with Man City winning Liverpool second. I think I agree. I think if Koulibaly signs, I think that's the nail on the coffin for Liverpool in terms of winning the league. I think Ferran Torres looks like a good signing on the wing. Got a lot of potential. Looks promising. And Ake, I think will be a backup. I think he'll be. Back up for Laporte with then Koulibaly coming in at right centre back, which I think will happen. They've just got their squad talent wise is just phenomenal. They've got such a good team. They have to win the league with that team. The only issue I have with City is probably Jesus. I'm not really convinced by him as a backup for Aguero. But then moving on to Liverpool, I think they'll still challenge, but they'll fall short. They're struggling for signings with the COVID budget. Tissim Mikas or whatever his name is, the left back. He looks like a good depth player. Looks decent. Thiago, there are question marks. I think he will sign eventually.
Liverpool.
Thiago.
Really?
I think
it looks like he's off to Barcelona.
No, I think they'll agree a deal where Wijnaldum will go to Barcelona and Thiago goes to Liverpool.
Fair enough.
I think that will happen if Thiago doesn't sign for Liverpool. Which I kind of want him to, but then I kind of don't because I really think Naby Keita could have a breakout season. I really think he could have a big year this year. I properly rate him. I think he's a great player. That has just been, I don't know, he just hasn't hit the heights over the last 2 seasons. But I think the main issue for Liverpool is if they get an injury in the forward areas, they're done.
Yeah.
Like if Salah gets injured, or Mane, or even Firmino maybe less so, but he's still a very important part, and people underestimate his part. If they get an injury, that's their kind of main weakness. But yeah, I think Man City win the league.
Yeah, because as you talk about the depth up top, it couldn't be more different between the two sides. The depth up top for Liverpool past their front three is Minamino, Ryan Brewster and Divock Origi. I mean, unless I've missed anyone out.
Shaqiri, is he still there?
Maybe. I don't know. Yep, sure, Shaqiri will throw him in. Whereas City's depth is just unreal. I mean, we don't need to read it out to you because you all know. I mean, it's just Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Ferran Torres now. I mean, they're just Sterling. It's disgusting. I think City will pip them. And so do you. That has been our Premier League predictions. Let's both quickly run through our tables. We'll flick it up on screen now. So I have got, we'll go top to bottom. We'll go in reverse order. I'll go City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal, Leicester, Everton, Tottenham, Wolves, Burnley, Southampton, Brighton, Sheffield United, Newcastle, Leeds United, Crystal Palace, West Brom, and then a bottom three of West Ham, Aston Villa, and Fulham. What have you got?
Yeah, I've got Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, United, Everton, Wolves, Leicester, Southampton, Burnley, Brighton, West Ham, Leeds, Sheffield United, Newcastle, Palace, bottom three, Villa, Fulham, and West Brom.
Well, there we go. That is our Premier League preview / prediction. Is that the new Fulham shirt, by the way, you're wearing?
No, I can't afford it, mate.
Oh, right. I was going to say, I was like, bloody hell, I saw the Premier League badge. I was like, hang on. Yeah. Right, fair enough. I don't know why I brought that up. Thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, pretty impressive work, to be honest. If you disagree with us or agree with us, let us know in the comments, retweet it. Just let us know, really. We like to hear from you. Premier League season's going to be getting underway. I can't wait. I won't lie. I'm pretty optimistic. Now you've put us in third. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Champions League football back under Arteta. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah.
We kick it off as well. We kick it off at Fulham Arsenal, first game of the Premier League season.
Part of me absolutely can't wait because I just can't wait to see Aubameyang against Tim Ream. But then the other part of me is like, you've just been promoted, so it's definitely going to be a draw because that's what happens. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Premier League season coming up. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for listening and goodbye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.